For a lot of people, Gregory Hines is the genesis of tap dance, but these two men on the screen right now predate him by a quarter of a century. They are Fayard Nicolas and Harold Nicolas. They made up the tap dancing duo, the Nicolas Brothers, who rose to stardom in the 1930s. Their precision, style, and technique were unmatched in their time, and honestly, a lot of their moves have yet to be duplicated to perfection to this day. Here is one of the most famous dance sequences ever filmed. It is the Jumpin Jive routine from the movie Stormy Weather, which starred Calloway and Lena Horne. For the people who have seen this number even once, they know that when they see the Nicolas Brothers and these stairs, that some magic is about to happen on the screen. The most recent nod that I have seen to this performance was by Megan Thee Stallion at the 2021 Grammys, when she had her dancers perform a rendition of this part of the dance on stairs. It was nice to see the salute to dance history, but it definitely didn't come close to the brilliance of the Nicolas Brothers. And just for the record, the Nicolas Brothers filmed this entire exhausting and complicated routine all in one take. Quick side note, I know that many who are watching this video are too young to know the movie Stormy Weather. But if you know the Robert Townsend film, The 5 Heartbeats, you have seen Harold Nicolas before. He portrayed Sarge, the choreographer for The 5 Heartbeats.
He's here to help us with the choreography.
What you talking about, Jim? I do the choreography, man.
The dresser, he's not here to take your place, man. He's here to just help out.
What can he teach me? Man, if you didn't like what I was doing, you could have come and talked to me. Instead of going behind my back, bringing in some old drunk...
Stop right there. Now don't let your mouth get you into something your ass can't get you out of.
Now, back to Stormy Weather. It is still known for its all-black ensemble cast, which was indeed a rarity during Hollywood's classical film era. Every black entertainer of that time wanted to be in on that film. Actors, musicians, composers, singers, and dancers. Harold Nicolas, along with his brother, Fayard, undoubtedly earned their coveted spots, and they truly delivered in their performance. When Stormy Weather was released on July 21st, 1943, Harold Nicolas was scoring tens in his professional life. By this time, he had been married to Dorothy Dandridge for almost a year, and at the time of Stormy Weather's debut, Dorothy Dandridge was pregnant with their first child. She gave birth to the child less than 3 weeks after the movie debuted. This seemed like it should have been a time for celebration in a young couple's life, but in truth, it was the total opposite. Harold Suzanne Nicolas was born on September 2nd, 1943, just 4 days before the couple's 1-year anniversary, and their child's birth was the beginning of the end of their marriage. Let's get into it. But first, if you like these videos about your favorite and most scandalous celebrities from yesteryear that make the Hot Mess History with Ty Said What Ty Said channel a time capsule for the culture, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can know every time that I upload one of these videos or every time that I live stream, and comment "I subscribed" in the comment section so that I can say hello to you. Now, on to why you are here. Harold Suzanne Nicolas was born to actress Dorothy Dandridge and her husband, Harold Nicolas, on September 2nd, 1943. Some might say that the child's birth happened on the right day, but at the wrong time, meaning too late. Apparently, on the day that Harold was born, the plan was that Harold would take Dorothy to the hospital for the delivery. A reasonable plan, especially because he had the couple's only car and she would be in labor and clearly unable to drive. Dorothy Dandridge, as you may know, was one of the most sought-after women in the entertainment industry in her prime. No doubt that Harold Nicolas would have had to do some major wooing to get her attention when he met her while she was working as a chorus line dancer at the Cotton Club. It is highly likely that he was heavily wooing Dorothy when he and his brother performed this Chattanooga Choo-Choo song and dance routine with her the year before he married her. But the problem is that the wooing stopped after the couple said their I do's. Harold was known to desert his wife and cheat on her. He was inattentive of Dorothy, to say the least, and when she was in labor, he dropped her off at her sister-in-law's home while he went out to play golf. Dorothy was to wait for his return so that they could go to the hospital together, but when her pains became too intense, she and her sister-in-law left without Harold. They ended up having to take a neighbor's car to the hospital since Harold was out golfing. Labor and delivery was strenuous for Dorothy, and when those hours ended, their daughter, Harolyn, was born. Unfortunately for the baby girl and her parents, she was born with a type of brain damage called cerebral anoxia, a condition in which no oxygen reaches the brain. Dorothy seemed convinced that it was because of the baby's delayed birth that she suffered this condition. And that is a possibility. And for that reason, Dorothy Dandridge blamed her daughter's condition on the fact that her husband did not follow their plan to take her to the hospital when she went into labor. That being said, there is an inkling of a possibility that the baby's condition was caused by the use of forceps during her delivery. One thing is for certain. Had Harold placed priority in fatherhood over golfing on that day, his possible role or fault, depending on how you view the situation, would not even be in question. So you can imagine that no matter how good or bad the marriage was, it had to have been a very difficult point to pick up from, where the wife believes that the husband has caused brain damage in their only child. But that notion didn't start on the day of Harolyn's birth. At first, Dorothy didn't think that anything was wrong with Harolyn, but by the age of 2, the child was still not speaking. Dorothy took her to a doctor who confirmed that she was mentally disabled. The doctor advised Dorothy to give Harolyn up and have another child, but she refused. What a cruel time in medical history. The medical norms of that time were brutal, including the vocabulary. Harolyn was labeled as mentally retarded for all of her life. While Dorothy was dealing with facing the reality of her daughter's condition, Harold Nicolas was largely absent and having affairs throughout their marriage. By 1948, he had completely abandoned his family, leaving Dorothy to care for their child as though she were a single mother. So, in 1950, Dorothy finally filed for divorce after 8 years of marriage. Though the couple was divorced and living separately, it was very well understood that Dorothy would still need help with Harolyn's medical needs. But Harold refused to financially contribute to his daughter's care. Since that was his stance, Dorothy Dandridge, one of Hollywood's most sought-after women, really was a single mother in every way, as if the child had no father walking the face of the earth. Harolyn's disability required constant care, and expenses took their toll after Dorothy's divorce from her second husband, Jack Dennison, in 1962, left her in debt. And trust me when I say, her marriage to Jack was no better than her marriage to Harold Nicolas. She married beneath herself twice, and those marriages left her life in shambles. For the record, we will cover her second marriage in a separate video, because this guy was a bum. Dorothy Dandridge had to file for bankruptcy after her second divorce. She was forced to sell her Hollywood home and place her daughter in a state mental institution in Camarillo, California. Dorothy avoided speaking publicly about her daughter until 1963, when she appeared on Cleveland's The Mike Douglas Show. She was praised for bringing awareness to what was called mental retardation at that time. Dorothy said of her daughter, who was 20 years old then, quote, "I never really thought I could give my daughter up to an institution. I guess the longest period of time that I have been away from her was about 6 months. Actually, she has no conception of time. She doesn't know how long I've been away. She doesn't even know I'm her mother. She only knows that she likes me and I like her, and she feels warmth and that I'm a nice person." End quote. Also, in her autobiography, Dorothy wrote about her struggles with her daughter in a heartbreaking manner. She wrote, quote, "She'd hug me tight, crushing into my breasts. I have known quite a few men since then, but I tell you, you cannot get that feeling from anything else in the world. Except this, I knew that to everyone else, she was hideous." End quote. Dorothy died at the age of 42 from a drug overdose on September 8, 1965. Whether it was accidental or intentional seems to remain unknown. Heroin remained in the state's care, and the rest of her life seems to be a mystery. There is no confirmation of any family member beyond her mother ever visiting her. And if her reported date of death is correct, she outlived her biological father by 3 years. There are no official reports about her date of death, but the year is said to be 2003. Harold Nicolas died on July 3, 2000, and it is alleged that no relative ever claimed Heroin's body. Harold Nicolas was certainly not the first entertainment industry husband to ever cheat, and he definitely will not be the last. Count Basie also had an affair that got some time in the press, and I published a video about that story that you can see here. I will also leave a link to that video in the description box. My sources for this story are Vanity Fair, Tragedy and Triumph, the Dorothy Dandridge story, Everything and Nothing, the Dorothy Dandridge Tragedy by Dorothy Dandridge and Earl Conrad, Eclectic Vibes, Twix and Mix on Tumblr, and Ebony Magazine Archives 1966. If you want text notifications so that you can get a text 15 minutes before I release a video or 15 minutes before I live stream, simply send a text to 786-632-2135 to let me know that you want text, and you will get an outgoing text message 15 minutes before I have a new video release. If you have a business, product, service, YouTube channel, or social media account that you would like to promote on my channel, email me at taiwan@taisaidwhattaisaid.com to get rates for advertising on my community tab, my live streams, and or my edited videos, just like this one. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Tai Said What Tai Said channel. Please leave a thumbs up and comment so that we can get a discussion going. And share this video on all of your social media, especially your Facebook. That really helps me out a lot. And subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can know when my next video is ready for you. And if you don't like what I'm saying, but you love it, feel free to hit that applaud button just below your video screen there and send me some
donations.
Yeah, baby. See you on the next video.